Hello. We are back. I'm just going to sing this episode. Just kidding. It's been a while, but I feel so good to be back recording.
Oh, yeah. And we always get excited when we have time to record.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. So first things first, I just want to say, we want to say thank you so much to all of our followers, all of our newer followers. We are super excited to be able to share what we know to all of you and share a laugh, hopefully.
And you guys share with us too. Let us know if there's anything that you want to hear us talk about or anything. We love getting messages from you guys and connecting with you.
Yep. So, yes, that's that. And that's the end of our podcast. Just kidding. Anyway, so how have you been?
I'm good. You know, I was just starting to tell you, we had a spa night last night.
Oh my gosh.
With my girl.
That's so fun.
It was so fun.
Really?
We did, like makeup. We made, we made spa water, like fruit water. That was like, the girls loved it. And then I was thinking, like, I just need to do this more often.
Oh, like where you put like strawberries in water?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm like, why don't I do that more often?
I feel like I drink more water when it's like that.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did nails. That's why my nails are
so cute. They're cute.
And what else did we do? Oh, so we did face masks. We just made like avocado, honey, and yogurt. I like blended it together and we did face masks and we put little cucumbers on our eyes. And it was the girls loved it, but it was a little, like, even I was just kind of like, oh, when they were putting the face mask on me because it was so slimy and cold and I couldn't control it because I was laying down and the girls and my husband were putting it on me and I was like, okay. But the girls tonierated it pretty well. It was just so much fun.
That's so fun.
It was really
That's
fun.
really cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to do that with myself tonight. Just kidding.
You need that.
It's so needed. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I know. I've been just like, it's so weird because I went into that second trimester with like a little bit more energy and then I feel like, boom, I hit a wall.
Oh no.
To where I'm like, oh goodness, it's coming. I'm at the part of the pregnancy where if I drop something on the floor, I like look at it and I'm like, is it worth picking up? You know what I mean? And then like my husband's like, did you just seriously look at something and just walk away? I'm like, yeah, I figured you'll get it, But I'm at that point in my pregnancy. So I'm like wanting things like clean and just like thrown out or like organized. Mm-hmm. But then I'm also like exhausted, like beyond exhausted.
Yeah. I mean, you have a lot going on too.
Yeah. Super busy. But I feel good. I'm healthy. Baby's healthy. So I can't complain.
Almost here. So
exciting.
Oh,
3 more months. Mm-hmm. I know. I was just telling you that I don't know where this baby's going to fit.
I know.
Because I already feel large and in charge. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Okay. So today we are talking about the interoceptive system.
Yes. And, I didn't know too much about this system. I mean, I guess I knew kind of basic. I knew it existed and I knew it kind of, gave us information about our internal signals, like whether or not we have to use the restroom, whether or not, you're hungry. So I knew it was a sense that we had and it contributed to that. But, I didn't learn about this in school. And so it really took kind of diving in and doing my own research and learning on the topic to kind of really understand it some more.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, even in general, I think in school, they kind of briefly go over, because there's so much to go over in school.
Yeah.
So they briefly go over sensory systems in general.
Yeah.
And so, the interoceptive system, I don't really remember it in school, to be honest with you.
I honestly don't think I learned about it. I don't know. It was so long ago that I was in school, but it's the 8th sensory system. Yep. So not a lot of people know about it.
Exactly. So it's just like, your vestibular system, your proprioceptive system, tactile, all of that. But it's the interoceptive system, which is so important. And it's, again, I think sometimes there's a little bit confusion, like that they're all separate sensory systems. And yes, they do their own thing, but they're all related to one another. They all influence one another and in a certain way. in a sense. So,
oh yeah. I was really excited when I started learning about interoceptives. So, I felt like the more I started learning about it, I was thinking, okay, this is kind of the missing link. This is something that I was missing a little bit with some of my students and even my daughter. But we could talk about that later. But yeah, I feel like it was kind of a missing link. So I was so excited to find out more about it and to dive into it.
Oh yeah, it's really interesting, especially obviously it's related to self-regulation and whatnot. But we recently just kind of revamped, and we're still like revamping our little interpretation sensory portion in our evaluations.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, give your opinion too, but I felt like when the previous table that I had that I was using, it wasn't really explaining each of the patterns and how one pattern may influence another. And it wasn't easy to explain as much as I would like, especially when you have those kiddos that you just see a ton of sensory dysfunction and you really, really wanted to explain that in the IEP meeting or to a parent because of the fact that that's where you really want to provide that intervention is at that level. And so if parents understand, if teaching staff, the IEP team understands where that child is demonstrating dysfunction, there's going to be more buy-in. There's going to be more understanding as to why you're putting in certain recommendations for, certain topics or certain things. And so I felt like, I don't know, I feel like I still can be revised a little bit more, but the way we have it now, I really like it because we talk about that in the interoceptive system in that portion as well.
Yeah.
We added that in.
And that's kind of a hard thing to do. Like sensory is so complicated
It is.
And as OTs, we know a lot about all the different systems. And like you said, we know all of those details. And when we have our evaluation, we have all that information, but taking that information and teaching a parent who doesn't have maybe that knowledge is challenging. So, and you do that in the evaluation. And yes, if you can explain it to them in ways that they're understanding, then I mean, obviously you want them to know what's going on, but then then they're going to understand why we're doing what we're doing, recommending the things that we are recommending and follow through.
Yeah. And then understanding why that kiddo is demonstrating certain behaviors because, and we talk about all the time, like behaviors happen for a reason and kiddo's not just going to do something, or even adults, don't just do something because they want to, either not engage or whatnot. There could be other underlying reasons as to why that could be an issue.
Yeah.
But sensory is so like complex, and I always post on my page like it's a pet peeve of mine. Like it's more than a sensory bin. Like it's like, a tactile bin. There's so much more that goes into it, and you can't really develop it's not a cookie cutter approach when you're looking at sensory because it could influence. I mean, again, you're just trying to gather information to develop a good hypothesis of what's going on with the kiddo. I love our collaboration because I love it. It's fun for me.
Yeah, it's really helpful to just talk about what could be going on and get different perspective and ideas of what could be happening. Yeah, So you introduced me to an interoceptive assessment a couple years ago that we started kind of incorporating as one of our assessments.
Yes. So it was, I've heard about Kelly Mahler, the assessment, and I heard about her curriculum. At that moment, I was, again, just like briefly learning about it. I knew that obviously the interoceptive system influences if a child is hungry and whatnot. And I had a kiddo that I was evaluating who, as I was observing, that's my favorite part of the evaluation. I just like randomly, I'm going to say that, but I love observing a kid and just kind of like looking at the environment, look at the behaviors, look at what the child is doing. I feel like my eyes are like a ping pong ball as I'm observing. But I had noticed that the kiddo was constantly eating throughout the entire day. And I was like, what's happening there? Are they, first off, needing that? Because it could, quote unquote, look like a child is seeking oral input.
Yeah.
But another question that I had thought of is the child even able to process or interpret that they are feeling full or hungry, or is it something, it's another behavior where it's just like out of habit kind of thing?
Yeah.
So what's really happening there? So there's 3 parts to that assessment. It's not standardized, but it's really good as far as
it's really good.
As Getting has a great parent interview section. And I felt like, with that kiddo, I was only able to do the parent interview portion of that.
Yeah.
But I felt like that was really good because I got a lot of really good information, and then parent also got a lot of really good information. And she was like, I didn't even think about that aspect, like that he wasn't processing the fact that he's hungry or that he was full. So I just was giving him, and at that time that kiddo was about 3 years old, but he was eating, a big tray of strawberries per day, and then as an adult, you don't even eat that much.
Yeah.
So she was like, I didn't even think about that. I just was giving it to him because I was happy he was eating.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it could be that his difficulties just poor interoceptive awareness in that he's not noticing the signals from his stomach. So there's, okay.
Yeah. No, so it's so true. So I really again, that was my first exposure to the interoceptive system while practicing. And then I saw her curriculum, and I wanted to learn a little bit more, but again, you're so busy, and that's totally not an excuse. But like I said, I had a brief understanding of what it was. Yeah. And then just recently is when we really were like, let's dive a little bit deeper, because it's obviously a missing piece, and it's a really important piece that we really need to kind of look into.
Yeah. And so she has a whole curriculum on how to build interoceptive awareness, and there's activities that go along with that. And for me, I love when there is it's laid out, just at least to start in an area that maybe you're not, you're just learning more about. So I love her curriculum because it's very easy to use and go through. And the curriculum is wonderful, which we can talk about, but
it's great. It has so
awesome
activities and cards.
Yeah.
And,
it's easy to use and go through. And, so I've used her curriculum. And so I am in the beginning, start at the beginning and you kind of go through, but then the more you understand the curriculum, you can kind of modify a little bit. And she gives ways to modify her curriculum. But she has also a course about it too, which is highly recommended.
I'm in the middle of it, and it's really good.
Yeah. You get a really good understanding from that course. Is it 4 hours?
Yes,
4 hours course.
And it's very interesting. I thought it was interesting. It was really good though, but she goes into details as far as, so first things first, what is the interoceptive system? Obviously, you're able to really feel about what's going on in your body.
Yeah, there's signals that your body gets throughout all of your body.
Yep. And your awareness can either be too big or it could be too small. And you may not be able to really understand what's happening. So it influences 2 different types of emotions. So the affective, so moods and whatnot, but also the homeostatic emotions. So related to the thirst, hunger, needing to use a restroom, all of those components.
Yeah.
But it was a really good course. And like I said, I'm halfway through, and you finished it, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. She's really easy to learn from. And in the course, she gives a lot of examples, and she even has an example with, a client that she's working with. And so she is actually going through the curriculum with the child there. So you kind of see it in action, which is also really nice. I love that part of the program. And then, so we have the curriculum, which is nice because it has all the printables, and it has the book for you. You can go through it chapter by chapter when you're doing your treatment sessions, which is nice. Like I said in the beginning, you don't need to have that. After the course, she gives you a lot of ways, you can start implementing what you know right away, but I love having all those resources and so many great ideas for visuals for kids to pair along with the curriculum. So the curriculum is really going to start in chapter, I think it's 1 through 15, the first 15 sessions that you're having, 15 weeks with the student or the client, number one, the foundational thing that you're working on is their ability to notice body signals. So notice what is happening throughout their body. And she breaks it down into 15 body parts. So week 1 is hands. And so the curriculum is laid out the same for each week, which is really nice, and nice for some of those kids who like that repetition and the structure. So you start week 1, and the curriculum is designed to have the student, give you some descriptor terms of how their hands might feel. So my hands might feel clammy or dry or want to move. So they give you what they, as of now, their baseline, what their descriptor terms are. And then there's descriptor terms that she provides. So then you can kind of go over some of those. Oh, well, your hands can also feel wet and messy and tingly, and just giving them all of these ideas of different ways your hands can feel. And then after that, you go into experiments, which is really cool, and it's fun. So she gives you an example of all these different experiments. So for the hands, for example, you have to have your client hold an ice cube for 15 seconds. So they hold the ice cube. I mean, you could do it with them. And then after the 15 seconds, you write down that you have them think about how their hands are feeling, and they give you a descriptor term. So now my hands feel cold, or whatever their response is. And she really emphasizes whatever response they're giving you, even if it doesn't really make sense to you, you just acknowledge what they're saying. They're never going to give you a wrong answer. And then you can ask them questions like, oh, that's an interesting, you said your hands feel this way. That's interesting. Tell me more about that.
I like that because it like builds confidence too with what they're answering, and
everybody feels things differently, right? Like, I don't know how you perceive that. It could be different for you. So it's not the same, which is, really nice. So you go through those experiments. And then after that, the rest of the week, really, you're working on your body checks. So a couple times a day, you're going to do a body check with your client. So this is where parent is really kind of helpful. If there's a parent there that, midday can say, oh, let's do a body check. How are your hands feeling right now? And say, you're in the middle of just watching TV. Oh, my hands feel calm. And then you do your body check. And she has, you can do a body check by just writing out how your hands may feel. But
are there also, like checklist or any logs?
Yes. Oh, she has so many resources. That's what I was like.
I love it.
So many resources. There's checklist, and then there's also icons with pictures. And this is the really cool part, I think, for younger kiddos, is that there's you can print out these resources. So what I did, I printed out, there's like a blank body, and I printed that out, and then you can just put Velcro, and you have your little sticky squares. And on my file folder, on one side of the folder, I have all the icons for the hands. So the child can look through all the hand icons, pick the one that's matching how they're feeling, and put it on the body where the hand is.
Oh my gosh.
So there's another connection.
Post that. That's really good.
Yeah. I took a picture, a little video, so I can share that.
That's super good.
So by the end of the 15 weeks, the child is now checking in onto all 15 body parts. That's a lot of awareness to your body. So week 2, you add feet and toes. So then they're body checking hands and fingers and feet and toes. And then you just keep building off of that.
Wow.
And then there's other activities.
So what is this program? Does it have like an age range that you typically would want to?
You know what? I don't know if there's a specific age range, like where you might want to start it, because she modifies it like low and high.
Yeah.
So I really feel like, and you can use it with adults. I think it's helping me as I'm teaching it to be more aware.
Well, and we're co-regulators too. If you think about it, for kiddos that are experiencing challenges with self-regulation. And we've talked about this before too, where kiddos may have that, self-regulation challenges, but the strategy, they're not carrying over that strategy when they are actually in a state of flight or fight.
Yes.
And so that was one of the trickiest things that we've kind of encountered. And so it's always just been something to try to either prevent that meltdown from happening, getting their nervous system ready. But again, the kiddos will be able to identify, yeah, I know I can take deep breaths, or I can do wall push-ups, or I can do this and this. But then when it comes to that exact moment, boom, there's other behaviors, and it's just hard to get them back in. So I feel like, again, like you said, the interoceptive system is literally the missing link as to all of this.
Oh, yeah.
And it really is some of the underlying reasons to it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially, so a child or anybody, all of us, we could miss body signals from certain body parts, or they could be, like you said, they could be coming in stronger or not as strong. So like, say for anxiety or frustration, a child and a person is going to get clues from their body that they are beginning to feel anxious, right? Oh, yeah. So me, when I start to feel anxious, my hands get clammy, my throat gets dry, my heart races, and then I feel like I have to fidget with something. So I know that anxiety is building because I can tune into all those little signs. So if I'm missing those signs and it's building and building and building, then boom, I'm having, So number one is getting them to be able to notice those body signals. So after they notice the body signals in the curriculum, that's the first 15 lessons. And she says you don't have to go through each section. You can just be going through the ones that the child maybe isn't interpreting correctly or picking up on. And then you're going to take, after you notice and you're building that awareness, then you're going to connect what they're feeling to an emotion, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm so surprised how once you can get a child maybe to notice the signal, they don't know what it means all the time. And this is my daughter. Like, I have a really good example with my daughter because it clicked, and she would always tell me her tummy hurt. She's like, my tummy hurts. And then I'm like, well, I think you have to try to go to the bathroom. And she'd come out, I feel better. And so her tummy hurting at this, right now at 3, she relates tummy hurting, and she's responding to that body cue of like, oh, I have to go number 2. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't think now, I don't think, oh, tummy hurting means having to go to the restroom, but it just shows you that like there can be some difficulties with really identifying what is going on. You notice the signal, but like, what does that mean?
What does it mean? And what emotions? Because again, like what does feeling anxious mean? Yeah. Or what does feeling sad? What does that mean? Like, what happens to your body? Those two, notice the body signal. That's a good example. That's true, because you automatically will just like, oh, okay, you need to go to the restroom,
Yeah. Or I would be like, oh my gosh, your tummy hurts. Like, do you have a tummy ache? Let's lay down. And not, I just knew for her, I saw a pattern, like it's after she eats, she hasn't gone to the bathroom. Like, I think you need to go to the bathroom. So I'm trying to bring more awareness to her with that. And so it's helpful. Learning about this is helpful at home. It's helpful for myself. Yeah. But yeah, it's really, I feel like there's a lot that we could talk about, but it's really a great.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with me. Program. Like, I notice that, like, if I'm feeling like, say, if I have to either speak in front of a large crowd, like, I love talking in general, but if I have to speak in front of a large crowd, I'm just like, I notice my heart started to race. I like start to like move my body. I need water. And I'm just like, but I take deep breaths. I'll like open up my chest, like, I'm like trying to self-regulate myself, but it's like, you notice those cues. But imagine if we didn't have that sense. Oh yeah. That would be really hard. Mm-hmm. Cause I would just automatically go into fight or fight. Yeah. And I'd probably leave the room and not want to talk in front of everybody. But that's literally, it's such a missing link. And I feel like it's really important to gather that information, gather that data, especially if a kiddo is having some self-regulation challenges. Yeah. Whether it's in the clinic setting, school setting, and all of those things. And it's really interesting. And I feel like it is a huge part that's missing in school settings, and I had a conversation with a few school psychs, and they were just like, this is so interesting. I love this. Yeah. And so as I was kind of briefly explaining it, they were like, wow, I didn't even know that was a system. Yeah. And so it's really, really interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah. Really good. All right. So definitely check it out. We'll put links about Kelly Mahler and give examples of certain things. So it's really, really good.
Yeah, definitely check it out, guys.
Yep. Check it out. All right. So for our mama segment, I love mama segment.
Me too. I mean, moms just love getting together and chatting about
everything.
Venting and chatting. And
because
venting.
it is, yes, and venting. Just kidding. No, it's motherhood is like, there was a meme the other day that I saw that it's like, you know, you can literally like, you look at your kiddos and you like love them with every ounce of you, but like when 7 o'clock hits, you're like, when's bedtime? It was like a meme and I was like cracking. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so true. But then once they go to sleep, you're like, I miss them. It's so like, true. Right? Oh my goodness. I just like, I will look at my son and I'm just like, I love you so much. Like, oh my God. Like, you know, oh my gosh. I just like love him.
You got all kinds of like hormones going on right now too.
Yes. And so I'm like, I'm going to cry right now. Jeez. But this is motherhood. Okay. This is literally motherhood. No. Yeah. So we have been the past few weeks, like I mentioned before, I was like super exhausted, super tired. And then my son went into sleep regression and it was like having a newborn.
Oh no.
And I was like, what is happening? Because he has a specific routine. Well, we're going to talk about bath time, but I was like literally wondering, I'm like, okay, how can I maybe improve bath time to help promote the sleep regression? Again, I'm like trying, I mean, as a mother, you're trying pretty much anything because sleep is like gold for everybody in the house. And so, yeah.
But you got through it.
Got through it, thankfully. Yes. But bath time, that was one thing that I was, you know, again, I feel like it's so hard to take off your OT hat when you're a mom, but it is obviously, it's important to take off that mama hat.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the OT hat. But literally see, pregnancy brain, mom.
I'm right with you. I'm like, oh yeah.
I know you're all green, huh? I'm just kidding. But I like literally was like, maybe I need to dim the light. Maybe I need to have more softer light tones to make it a little bit more relaxing. And then the type of toys that I was like, maybe he needs to play with something that isn't like, you know, like the cars. You know, I don't know. I was trying to think of just different ways to kind of make it a little bit more soothing because again, the water is warmer, so that should automatically put him in a little calmer state. Yeah. But bath time is a really fun occupation. You do a lot of really good and fun activities during bath time.
You know, I have to admit that sometimes the bath time, I'm just like, at the time, by the time it gets to bath time, I'm like, okay, tonight is going to be a quick bath.
Yes. Last night was one of those. I'm like, all right, let's get in, get out.
And they love taking a bath. So sometimes that makes it harder. It makes it harder on myself. So I'm like, you know what? I need to give them a little bit more time. So, and my girls are at the age where I can like put them in the bathtub together, which is like so nice.
Oh my goodness.
But they love playing in there and it is a good like nighttime kind of calming. So we do our bath at night too, which we started like newborn, right? Like newborn. And I remember when we bought my daughter's baby bathtub, we bought like deluxe.
Oh, like
version?
The spa one where it has like singing doves flying out of it. Like there's so many tubs.
Okay. So yes, there's so many tubs. We had the whirlpool and it had, I think, like a little handheld hose and we didn't need any of that. Like we didn't need it. Now I'm just like, okay, I just needed a regular little tub. Like with a little chair.
Yes. And moms, when you first I remember I had my mom come over and like, I was like, oh my God, it was so stressful. I felt like I was going to break him.
Yes.
Mom's like totally doing it all natural, right? And I'm just like looking at him like, how did you do that?
I know.
Oh my goodness.
One thing for my first daughter, her skin was getting really dry. And so I realized like, okay, I need to cut back on, what I'm using body wash or whatever. And so, but one of the things the doctor told me, because I had mentioned it to her, she's like, well, make sure you do like shampoo and washing like right at the end. And I don't know why I didn't think of that, but I would kind of put her in the chair, wash her up, and then sit and play with her. But meanwhile, she's kind of sitting in the soapy water, and that was even drying out her skin more.
Oh,
so the doctor was saying, play with her to start. And if it's a day that you're going to wash, with soap, do it, rinse her off and get her out. And I'm like, oh, that's a really good tip.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. You don't really think about those things because you're just trying to figure out how to manage and hold the body.
I know. Oh, and do you use this with your son? And I still use it with my girls. It's like a little plastic cup to rinse their hair.
Yes.
That is like, you need that.
For sure. Number one. Yes.
You need that.
It's so helpful. Mine has it looks like a little pitcher.
Yes.
But, yes, that's for sure
I
something
still have
you want.
it. Like, I use it on the girls still.
Yeah. And another thing too, which I found was really helpful. And again, I'm in my nesting stage, so don't judge me, anybody. But even rotating your bath toys.
Oh, yeah.
Because it can get your bathtub can be like Toys R Us Part 2 up in there. Yeah. And literally I felt like once we were kind of rotating toys, again, behaviors were improving during that, and it was more fun, and it was just that was something that was really good to know. And I know you talked about the toys getting mold.
Oh my gosh, Genna.
That is so gross, right? It was so gross. When you told me that, I'm like, I didn't even think about that. It's so gross.
I totally learned my lesson. So my first daughter had a bunch of plastic bath toys and the squirting, right? Yeah. Which are so much fun.
Yeah.
So she totally loved them. And then I think, I don't know, maybe it was a year after, we had some of the same toys. And then I noticed she sucked on one of the toys.
I've been on the gag.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm in a gag right now. This is totally unflattering or gross sounding to me. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so there had been mold in it. And after she sucked on it, and I was like, oh my gosh, she just took in that water. And I was like, I threw out the toys. So I threw them out, and I actually cut one open because I wanted to see, and it was bad. And so after that, I was like, no toys. And then I realized some of the toys that didn't do that, little cups, the nesting cups that kids just love scooping and pouring water. And that was enough play for her. But yeah, that was a really shocking thing. But yeah, you just told me kind of a mom hack.
Yeah, mom hack. I thought this was really cool. But I had a friend who I had posted about that I was trying to limit. And there was so many cute toys. I forgot what the name of that company is. Alex and something. But they have those little plastic squirt cars, and they have dirt on it. But once you put it in warm water, the dirt comes off. So it was really cute, fun things. Or they had little dogs that were dirty, and once you put them in warm water. And once you told me that story, I was like, oh shoot, and I didn't even think about that. But I was telling another mom, and she was like, oh, just hot glue the little hole, that way no water gets in. And I'm like, genius.
I know. I wish I would have known that.
Yeah. So I totally found
idea.
some. Yeah. And no water is inside. I mean, he can't squeeze any water out, obviously, but yeah. I think I would vomit if he squeeze and suck that water. And, oh my God, that'd be the worst. But there's other toys. I think they're called, I found them at Home Goods. There's something, I think they're green toys, but they're bath toys. And there's there's fairies. There's tons of different toys that you can take apart and clean through.
Oh yeah.
And my son loves them.
Yeah.
Loves them. So
yeah, I clean our bath toys just with vinegar and water, and you can just let them kind of soak and rinse them out really good.
Yeah.
That way you're not kind of using any kind of cleaning, on that cleaning product on it. But another fun thing that we do for bath time is sometimes, let me back up. Something that's really helpful for me giving the girls a bath in the bathtub is having a little stool. So I used to,
Yes.
I used to kneel down. So I actually registered for one of those little kneeling pads, and you could kneel on the outside of the tub. And that was really uncomfortable for my back. So
as me being pregnant right now, I cannot.
You can't do that. Yeah. So you have to, the OT and us is like, okay, how do I do this? So I use their little step stool that they use to get on the potty, and I just sit on that, and it's so nice and easy. But I think it makes a big difference if I'm sitting there and I'm a little bit more comfortable, and then I can just kind of sit there and wait for them. But then if I'm sitting right next to the bathtub and I know, they're in there and they're okay, sometimes we'll turn off the lights. Sometimes I'll just kind of close the curtain and give them some privacy, and oh my gosh, they just love that. Like they're on their own, like in the bath. Sometimes we turn on the shower just to kind of make it fun. It's raining, and it can be a really fun time.
It can be a really fun time. And again, bath time doesn't always necessarily need to be in the evenings. Well, we do it in the evenings just to kind of promote that bedtime routine, but we also give our son that morning bath just to kind of alert your nervous system. Again, we make the water warm, but maybe those activities are a little bit more alerting that you do, right? And then at night they're a little more calming and whatnot. But that time is fun.
Oh yeah.
And like there was this one page that had where she gave her kids popsicles like in the bathtub. I'm like, how fun would that be? Did you do that?
I think I saved that. You know how many things I have saved? Like, I want to try that. Now that you bring that up. But in
the summer, how fun would that be? Like in the very, early morning bath.
Yeah.
Or not. Well, you wouldn't want to do it. Like obviously for time. Like I know. I'm like, here's a cookie for breakfast. Just kidding. But yeah, bath time's fun. It's so funny. Like the little hacks or little things that you thought you initially needed, and then you really don't.
You just don't know until you try, I guess. Because when you're registering, we talked about this. There's so many things, and you're like, okay, well, if it's there, I'm probably gonna need it. Yeah. And then there's so many things that I didn't use. So those bath time things
remind me too. I think, okay, were you the one that told me about the lavender scent and boys and like hormones and all of that? Did you tell me about that?
I don't know if I've told you about it, but I've heard of it.
So I don't know too much about all this, but again, like I was a new mom, and I knew that the lavender scent was more calming. And so that was something that I had added initially until I had heard, I don't remember who exactly, but they were saying about that scent and how it may influence the hormones of your kiddo.
Yeah, because essential oils are really, they're strong. And even though you're putting like a drop or two, like it can have an effect on the body. So it is good to know like which ones to use. But I did hear that as well, that lavender is not, I don't know if it's something has to do with estrogen. I really have no idea. I can't remember. And we have a friend who's really good with oils, and she would be able to tell you. But just maybe some guidance before you just start kind of using, and then it's helpful to know.
Yeah.
Anything else? Bath time.
I'm trying to think. No, I think that's it. Oh, another helpful tip, actually, yes, I do have one more, is to set up like before the kiddo goes, your kid goes into the bath, set up their pajamas, set up everything that you will need, because when you're taking him out of the bath, then you're having to like, especially my son is, he's such a heavy little guy, and to have to like, I hate when I have to like walk over and get the pajamas, get everything all ready while he's in my arms, because he's just so heavy. So that's something to kind of be mindful about. Have it all ready and set.
Yeah. I think when my girls were little, when I would carry them, I'd wrap them up and carry them to their room, and we'd lay on the floor and do like lotion and massage but now you're right. Now that they can like walk and they're bigger, I do the same thing. So I have everything ready. So one can stay in a little bit longer. We take turns, and then once they're out, we just kind of lotion up there and have pajamas ready to go. And then I have to deal with like, brushing the hair and braiding the hair, drying the hair. Like they have so much hair. But yeah, being prepared.
And having that ready. Another thing too that we just started and we added in, we can talk about pretend play for our next Mama segment, but adding in, there's like little bath mirrors that you can add in for your kiddo. And that was something that has been, I didn't realize that. I mean, my son would look in the mirror, but he wasn't given as many opportunities to look in the mirror.
Oh yeah.
As an adult would, because, you know, you go into the restroom, you're obviously passing by the mirror, but there's so little that they don't fully get the opportunities to do that.
Oh yeah.
And so, just recently we bought a pretend play mirror, but then also I was like, you know what? That's important for him to use that in the bathtub too. Cause he loves it. He'll like walk by and he'll like stick out his tongue, or he'll like, I'm like, okay, let's wash your face. And so you can really build in some body awareness activities during that time.
Oh yeah. We don't have a mirror, but the girls are always looking in the faucet.
Yes.
I should probably get him a mirror.
Yeah. It was so funny. Cause I'm like, I didn't really think it would be that interesting of a little, cause it's like a little, you know, face mirror, but it was something where I'm like, gosh, he really is liking it. Or he'll bring his hand up and kind of look at, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's so funny.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. Really fun. All right. So thank you so much for listening in. Don't forget to visit our website at OT.Mommas.Life.com. Yes. There are a lot of different things that we have on there, previous episodes and show notes and whatnot. Yeah.
Oh, and check out our YouTube video.
How did I forget that? Yes, we have a YouTube video. We have YouTube videos that are up.
Channel.
And so definitely subscribe, turn on your notifications, listen in, share it, do all of that fun stuff. We totally appreciate it.
All right. Till next time.